Right. Let's talk Cloudrest Lake, an island surrounded by water with hills as its backdrop, mostly bamboo vegetation. Cloudrest Lake itself, unadorned, is a visual treat. So as an homage to the origins of this place, I will be applying a few Chinese philosophies into this build, with an emphasis on symmetry and balance. Some of my reference points for this build are based off a very classic Chinese movie, Hero from Zhang Yimou, a 2002 film that's widely regarded as one of the most beautiful movies made. I was pretty inspired by the use of colors to tell a story or set a mood, and the stylistic choice of symmetry to get visually striking shots. As usual, let's get zoning. Instead of strongly marking out the boundaries like the homestead build, I want to impart the feeling of integration, less demarcation, the impression that my land melts into game land. So this means I had to identify the center and work from there instead. This is my other game character, Soda. He's standing dead center of the land, which is now my axis. A lot of my build's measurements and scale will be held against this point. I'm gonna mark out the possible entrance and exit points of the land here, here, and here. This wall will have to represent the back door of the build. There's also this awkward strip of land that players cannot build on, so do need this space to be part of my build even if I cannot change anything about it. I used the rollerblades to complete my chores in this game, so I prefer having no stairs outdoors, no obstacles, and larger pathways. Hi! Hello! We're starting from the back entrance. First off, this is the back entrance, or back alley of the build. I've used 3 red lanterns in a descending arrangement that ends with this red letterbox. Red really pops against the austere colors of my build. Immediately to the left of the alleyway is the workstation, which has a shipping bin at the entrance. I made a little gardening and work table portion to fill up the space because I want to keep my light switch, chest, and immortal seed grinder in here. I kinda like camouflaging functional game items within a natural setting. Inventory organization is pretty straightforward. 5 types of crossable flowers, 9 colors each, with the end goal of swapping all normal seeds to immortal seeds. With flowers, inevitably I had to plan for beehives, so I situated them all in the same area but partitioned away. At the back I've placed the teleport machine. The color scheme outdoors is predominantly green, black and white mostly, with minimal vegetation and color variety throughout so that the flowers will pop. I've also kept lighting to a minimum so as to let the glow from flowers shine brighter. All the sitting areas in this bamboo forest will not need shade as the bamboo canopy provides natural shade. With no fixed boundary, you get the sense of freedom and unity with the entire island, emphasizing that we're living in nature and not in a box. From this vantage point, the manor divides the property into the sanctuary of the bamboo forest on one side and the sun-drenched brightness on the other. At the entrance, I finally used a definite pavement for people to follow and these masses of white flowers to gently keep them on the path. The landscape I have designed here is quite chaotic and formless. I'm not telling you where to walk, you can barely see the path. I'm merely suggesting places you can rest at. Let's move on to the bright side of the manor. I had mirrored the same water features and sitting areas as the bamboo forest side, but over here these same features are more formal, conventional and intentional looking as compared to the haphazard freeform nature of the bamboo forest. The trees here are shorter, so there isn't a canopy blocking out the sunlight. This part of the build is meant to feel a lot more open and warm. Since there will always be random strangers on the boardwalk opposite, I might as well embrace the public eye and make this side of the manor open and visible. In fact, I'm gonna play into it by using black flowers against a white gardenscape. The black on white reverse silhouette means choosing sharp contrast and clarity over concealment, which is the exact opposite of the bamboo forest portion, which is enshrouded, shaded, and mysterious to the outsider. But between you and I, black flowers are really lucrative in this game, so this is also a business decision. Stepping into the interior of the manor is a big visual shift. From the green, black and white outdoors, there is a sudden wash of red. On both sides, there are simple water features. On the left, we have the kitchen, and on the right is the recreational room. It's quite an open concept here. Kitchen represents food and conversation to me, so having it face the more public and bright portion of the property is quite fitting. On the right, the recreational room. A his and her gaming setup, console game or TV area, and a coffee bar cause we need to game into the night. Above, we have the boys' room or athletic room. I'll always have the same basic designs for my bedrooms, so I do hope to add variations to furniture to keep it fresh. In here, I'm hoping to swap some stuff out as soon as the game designers updates. The bedrooms upstairs have their own balcony access each with front-facing view of the lake. Catching the sunset here is pretty cool. Now to cross over, we're gonna use this walkway that is both a back-facing balcony and a sheltered link between two rooms. As mirrored, this is the feminine room or pink room. It was a lot more fun to furnish this room cause there's just so much pink stuff in this game. The bathroom is facing the private zone, so Ayami can actually take a bath with the windows opened if she wanted. I can just imagine Ayami having tea with a friend here, overlooking the lake, or having a quiet moment on the balcony facing the dark forest. I do love maple trees in this game. When I was building this, I knew I will be featuring maple trees heavily in my next build. In spring-summer, the maple burns red like it's on fire. In autumn, it turns a dreamy gold, and it's gleaming white in winter. It's one of the few tree options in this game that changes color with the seasons. Using glass panels, there's constant light, nature, space. Lastly, using redwood and the red maple tree indoors represents the fire within the home. This Cloudrest build possesses the 5 Chinese elements of wood, earth, fire, metal, and water. Now that we have opened up all the windows and the two main doors, I can better show the flow of air or qi by fact that we can see through the house. Being surrounded by taller terrains on most sides, it might get stuffy in summer, so having great airflow means a sustainable way of cooling a bigger home. The doors being perfectly aligned also adds to the sense of symmetry and balance, which is actually really deep-rooted in Chinese cosmic belief and philosophy. Moving on to the last bit. The summer house is really where my character sleeps when I was here working on the flowers. It's mostly yellow in theme, which is reminiscent of Chinese imperial aesthetics, with some earth-toned pieces to anchor and tie this look together. In the bedroom, we have the usual setup of bed, wardrobe, and a heat source. At the sliding doors, a tea space with mellow hand for companionship. It's actually called summer house because of the outdoor bathroom. Winter will not be kind to your buttocks out here, so this is best left for summer. I've also used the concept of bio-ceilings in this build. Not only does it provide shade, but adequate lighting and shelter while giving back to nature. And as I walk out onto this grass area, it doesn't feel as though I'm stepping out of my property. This strip of land feels like my natural backyard. I think I must have been hurting from the bubblegum homestead where colors are rioting, styles are clashing, low-key PTSD from the music box that I went completely another way with this project. And given such a lovely piece of land, I was obliged to put a lot more thought and poetry into this build. This manor is named Hexie, which means harmony in Mandarin. It sits precisely on the line where light meets darkness, where yin meets yang. The Chinese also believe in the middle way, which doesn't mean standing in the middle of the road, but being perfectly centered and impartial, standing on a point where all forces are in equilibrium. In here, I acknowledge that my garden, like life, has its counterpoints and opposing views, a private and public side. But instead of separation, I found continuity, the flow between form and function, aesthetics and a healthy profit margin. I'm not choosing one way or another, light or darkness. I believe in my humanity finding a center among opposing forces, and in that, perfect balance and harmony. So, thank you if you have made it this far in the video. Hope you like my first original build in Starsand Island. See you in the next one.